Hey, it's Doom here. Welcome back, Dungeons and Doom Biscuits, one half of the creative team behind Dungeonswag.com. And our turret is dry, and we are going to go ahead and start painting it. I think that I'm going to do some red, orange to yellow, but I'm not going to do just straight red. I'm going to do some red with some orange in it. Oh, that was a lot more than I wanted. That was a lot more than I wanted. It's one of those days, a little bit of water. The water was not clean. That's alright. So you want a workhorse brush, something that you've ruined doing other projects with, that you can just kind of get in there. You want to stir this crap up. You want it to be wet, but not so wet that it's doing what it's doing. But like I said before, if this was about perfection, it would be a different game. I have made an enormous mess, so we're going to do a take two on that. You grab another cup. Add the water first. There we go. By the way, if you have kids and they are growing out of their clothing and it's not in good enough condition to donate or give to a friend, don't throw that stuff away, man. Keep that stuff and use it for rags in the shop. Alright, now we're doing it right. Like I said, I just want to make this an orangish red base coat. Mixing it up. Doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to be smearing it all over this turret. And you want to get it in all the cracks. Now, watering this down, obviously you don't get the best coverage, right? That's alright, man. Because this is in space on some planet, and it might have been painted multiple times. You know, it might have belonged to some Imperials. And then they were like, oh, we hate this thing. And then it might have belonged to some rebels. And they're like, oh, let's change the color so it matches our stuff. And then maybe some random alien species came along. And they're like, oh, it's ours now. Let's paint it our color. So don't even worry about dumb stuff like, you know, oh, my paint job sucks. Well, you know what? It's alright, man. If I wanted to spend hours doing this, I guess we could do a better paint job, but we're getting in all the important cracks and such, and it's going to dry really quick because we're going to hit it with the blow dryer. Now, my boy was watching my video that I made yesterday, so solely for the purpose probably to mock me and tell me how bad of a job I did, because he enjoys making fun of my misery. And he mentioned that these straws need sanded. And I mentioned that I don't care if the paint comes off it because I'm probably going to use it once or twice. But you should, yes, in fact, lightly sand these straws. I wouldn't say put a whole lot of effort into it, but, you know, hit them with a light touch. I don't even know why I'm painting these guns and stuff, because that's all going to be silver when it's done. Okay. So we got a reddish orange on here. Pretty much everywhere that matters, I think. I hope. I'm going to hit it with the blow dry real quick. Patience. Now, I was only going to do one coat of that orange, but you can see that bled through a lot worse because I've watered it down so much. So, I'm going to dry this brush out and kind of just hit some of these spots that I want to show better again, just real quick. And I'm not hitting it with as much effort as I did the first time around, but just didn't want that much of the, I think it was green that I painted this with. I just use whatever I grab first when I do this kind of stuff, whether it's black or green or tan or gray. I don't use white on terrain because it's like, then you got to build up. Well, you know. I don't think this is any of y'all's first time around. Alright, so that is actually okay. Not as much showing through. Now we're going to get our orange. I'm going to dab a little bit on here. And we're going to get that Dollar Tree or wherever it's from, this paintbrush here. It's like a makeup brush. And it's got some pink and purple. It's pretty schmancy. It's beautiful. Oh, look at that. So there's some hot glue in there. Boop. Good as new. See that? We just saved $1. Well done, guys. So, I got wispies. These darn glue spider webs. So, this paint here, this yellow, or orange I should say, is a little wetter. And I have no control over the consistency of these cheap paints. Like, if you buy like Army Painter, and even Games Workshop to an extent, and some of the other Vallejo, or I don't know how to say it, but I think it's Vallejo. I've bought this stuff over the years, and I've settled on Army Painters. But when you get the better brands, there's a lot more consistency between the quality of the paints. When you buy this like craft paint stuff from like Dollar or Walmart or Michaels and stuff, that, you know, the stuff that costs 50 cents or $1, you just don't get that same consistency no matter, like, I mean, I've watered some down and thinned some down permanently using distilled water and stuff and got some better effects, but the truth is it's just not designed to be of that quality. And there was, and I'm not going to lie, there was a time years back where I only used that stuff to paint miniatures. I have a lot of miniatures that you'd be like, wow, you painted that with craft paint? And I did. It's just that, you know, I was careful as to what colors I used and which paints were better than others, and I kind of knew what I was getting into. I didn't have the money to buy good paints. When I came out of the Army, I had years of trying to find where I belonged in the world. And I'll tell you, you know, no one's going to be perfect. No one's going to nail it every time. And if you don't come from a rich family and have all the help you could need, you're going to struggle. And especially for like a lot of you younger adults out there right now, I don't think you guys should feel bad when things are rough. Oh, you don't have a car or your job sucks. I wouldn't worry about that stuff, man. 99% of our, 95% of our problems, we can look in the mirror and say, trace it back to how it could be our responsibility. And for the other 5%, you just kind of got to deal with it because life sucks. So if you look in the mirror and say, hey, what am I doing? Or I have this problem. What caused it? What could I do differently to make this problem better? How could I learn to be a better painter? How could I get a better job? How could I have a better girlfriend or boyfriend? Or how could I get a better haircut for cheap? You know, there's a million things you can look in the mirror and find out what you personally can do to change that. And a lot of it just means extra work, sometimes going unappreciated for what you've done, sometimes making some sacrifices for entertainment or fun or what you like to eat. But there's always decisions you can make. If you're like, I don't have a car, okay, well then, bad news, dude. Walk to work. eventually, if you keep walking, one, you'll be in super darn good shape, and two, you'll have enough money for a car. And you don't have to have a brand new nice car. You can drive. I drove around in junkers. I used to buy like $1,000 cars back in the day and just rolled in them until they died. Learned to fix what I could to keep them running, and then just kind of, that was it. A transmission or something would go, and then it was time to get a new car for $1,000, $2,000, whatever I could come up with at the time. And I had to walk sometimes. When I came back from the Army, I had a vehicle, and then it kind of lost it and couldn't get another one for a good price, and I just walked everywhere. But I had just come out of the Army, so, to walk an hour and a half to work or something wasn't killing me because I was in pretty good shape. If you're not in great shape, that could be problematic. But again, look in the mirror. If you're not in great shape, like I'm an old fat guy, but if I look in the mirror, I know what I can do to change that I'm an old fat guy. All right, our turret's starting to look pretty good. I'm going to tilt this camera up a little bit. I don't think you guys can see just great. So anyways, our turret's starting to look pretty good, right? We can tell that it's a man-made structure that shoots things. It's got some kind of power device. It's got some rivets. It's got everything we wanted it to have. So we're going to grab our other little cardboard slip here. We're going to get this yellow. Yeah, I know it's yellow. I'm from West Virginia, so I'm a little bit of a hillbilly. Now, yesterday we used this brush. This is the super sparkly brush of Destiny, and I love it. Now, this is more of a dry brush here, so we're going to try to get some of this off. And our goal here is not to paint, but to pick up some of the 3D areas. Oh, we got a rivet moved on us. We'll have to come back and fix that. Uh-oh. Drama. But not so much drama that we can't fix it. All right. Back to this. All right. We picked up a lot of our high areas. It's got kind of a flame look going to it, but that's okay because we just want it to clash and stick out and not be like a generic and boring gray. We want all our terrain to kind of have like a little bit of uniqueness and individuality to it. So now we have to focus on picking out the things that are not the right colors. So we know that pipe is probably not going to supposed to be orange, right? So we can paint that silver or something if we want. I'm sorry, I'm cheap, so I'm going to let these dry and use the other sides of them. We know our rivets are going to be a color. I think silver will contrast decent. I do have a... somewhere. Here we go. This is that brush metal I used yesterday. We'll use that again. It's pretty good for this kind of stiff. So we're going to hit these. There's that one that came undone. Now, look, dude, that's whatever. I went overspilled there. I was hurrying. I rushed. I went over on that. It's fine. Leave it. Leave it. Don't sweat it. All right, so our door, we're going to come back to that. So let's work on our turret here, on our quad cannons. They don't have to be perfect. But you want to, not intentionally do a bad job, but you're not looking for perfection here. I want to tell you guys about something I really watched that was funny, but I'm worried that these days you got to watch what you laugh at. And even though 2 years ago people thought it was hysterical, now you could get, socially hated for it. So I'm going to not tell you guys the funny thing I saw earlier. I watched. Alright, so we know this pipe's got to get painted. We know that grating's got to get painted for sure. Let's do these buttons in this same silver. Now, this is a cheap brush. So we're just going to toss it in our paint and wash it with the rest of our terrain brushes. And I'm going to use a little bit of a bigger brush to do some of this work. So with this, we don't want the silver to get all down inside the individual little grids. So we're just going to kind of wipe some of that off and then lightly hit this. And again, we're going to paint this outside rim silver. And it doesn't have to be perfect, dude. Like I said, this is even on the back of it, so probably no one will even see it unless somebody picks it up to look at it. Alright, and then we're going to do this pipe. Which is just a drinking straw, and mind you, I did not sand it. I just primed it and have been painting on it, and it looks like the paint is sticking pretty well. So although my boy did criticize, he may not know everything. Oh, look. Splashed over some silver there. Ruined the entire project. It's the worst. Can't use it now. I got some splash there too. I didn't even notice that. Alright, so we can do our panels in a different color to make something cool. So we have orange and yellow and silver. Let's get something that'll contrast and paint those panels. This is a nice turquoise. I don't really use that for too much. Oh, this is a thing I do. Okay, so if you get a color and you just put a dab of it on the top and then you put them in a container where they're all kind of like laid out like that, from the top you can see what color it is. So if you're wondering like why some of mine have that, I used to like really go into that. Like this one has that red. But then as I got lazy, like I don't even know why that has green on it. It's just not intentional. But yeah, you can steal that trick if you like it. Look at that. Bling! Looks sharp. Nice contrast. Alright, so there we go. I'm not sure how long that took, maybe 20 minutes to paint, and I could have probably done it faster. And that'll work. That'll do what we need it to do. So I'm going to let that dry for a minute. I'm going to spray that with a gloss, a clear coat. I have like a 4 or 5 clear coats sitting over there. We'll just grab one. Again, not super, it doesn't even matter. Like if you want it to be glossy, use a glossy. If you want it to be matte, use a matte. If you don't care, like me, you just use whatever the first can you grab is and just use it. Because it's not important. That's not what makes this matter. What makes this matter is that you have different stuff on the table to represent different scenarios and to add different layers of combat and to destroy line of sight and to have elevations. And if you looked in the thumbnail of the other one, and you'll see it in the thumbnail of this one, you can just stack stuff willy-nilly, and it doesn't matter really what color it is or what size it is, as long as it sits on the other one. But that's it. I'm gonna clear coat it, and then we'll get one look at it, and then I'll take it and post these. Alright, so it's done, it's ready, it's crisp. You can see I messed up and got paint on it wrong spots where I shouldn't have, but that can look like battle damage or scratches or anything else. Not a big deal. Cost me $0 and 0 cents to make this, besides a little bit of paint and hot glue. And I really didn't even use that much hot glue on this. So this is the kind of stuff you can be throwing together for nothing. It's trash. It's, it's stuff you have anyways, like you made lasagna, you're going to have a thing like this, or if you eat cottage cheese, you're going to have something like this, or any kind of container of that size. Soda cap lids, water bottle lids, buttons. You can buy buttons. I had to buy those. Drinking straws. If you're cheap, real cheap, you can rinse old drinking straws out and use those instead of tossing them. But the bottom line is, this is not an expensive endeavor. Yeah, a sheet of that's like $2, but it lasts me for a long time. I bought like a pack that had 5 sheets in it probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I still have plenty left. So it's not a large investment to make stuff. And the fact that you can populate your table with this stuff, and every time people come, they're excited to see what you've added. I'll tell you that. Like, I've been DMing for the same group since like 2008. Most of the group is the same. There's been people that have come and gone, but it's like 2024. That's I don't even know how many years. It's 16 years. And every week they like to see the new miniatures I bring to the table. Even if it's garbage train like this, they're excited to see it. It's nice. It's a good feeling. It's exciting. I don't ever have to put in. We have like our D&D Facebook group where we put information out there about meals and stuff like that. I never have to post any of this stuff because I know as soon as they walk in the door, they're going to want to see it all. And sometimes I don't show them something. If I do like an extra good job, I'll hide it, and then when it comes time, I'll pop it out. Like when I made the Rancor, I did actually a pretty good job on painting it and stuff instead of just doing it real quick. And like when it was time to fight the Rancor, I had it in a little box under the table, and then I pulled it out. I was like, "Oh, Rancor! Oh no!" It was pretty exciting. So thank you guys very much for watching. I had a lot of fun making this. I didn't really have a plan walking into it, but it turned out great. I think for free, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys are learning something, or at least getting some creative ideas to do your own projects. It's not about being rich or having the best. It's about caring about what you do, enjoying what you do, and putting as much effort as you feel comfortable within. Don't let people tell you. Don't let other channels tell you. Don't let me tell you. You find your limits and where you rock, and you live in that. All right? Have a great night. Bless everybody. Bye.